the most dangerous thing about a high-status man is that him doesn't need to prove he's high status. Most men spend their lives chasing validation. They want attention, approval, respect, recognition. They measure their worth by how loud people clap for them. But the men who truly command respect move differently. Their confidence is quiet. Their standards are unshakable. Their presence changes the energy in a room before they even speak. High-status men are not created by money alone, not by muscles, not by followers, not by expensive watches or luxury cars, because status that depends on external things disappears the moment those things are gone. Real status is psychological. It's the ability to stay calm when everyone else panics, to walk away from disrespect without needing revenge, to control emotions when weaker men lose control of themselves, to think long-term while others chase short-term pleasure. And in today's world, where distraction is destroying discipline and attention is becoming weaker every day, these traits have become rare. That rarity is what creates power. Most men never realize that people are constantly testing them, watching how they react under pressure, watching whether they seek approval, watching whether they break emotionally when life gets uncomfortable. The truth is, your habits reveal your status long before your words do. And the men who rise above the crowd understand one thing most people never learn. Status isn't something you demand. It's something your mindset forces people to recognize. Silence has become one of the rarest forms of power in modern society. Most people speak constantly because they are afraid of being ignored, misunderstood, or forgotten. They fill every empty space with opinions, explanations, and noise, hoping attention will turn into respect. But high-status men understand something deeper. The man who controls his words usually controls himself. And self-control is what people instinctively trust. A man who reacts emotionally to every criticism reveals insecurity without realizing it. He feels the need to defend himself, prove his intelligence, or dominate every conversation because his identity depends on external validation. But the man who stays calm under pressure sends a different signal. His silence communicates certainty. Women notice this immediately because emotional stability creates a S, or NC of safety and strength that loud confidence cannot imitate. Presence speaks louder than performance when a man is secure in who he is. High-status men listen carefully because they are not desperate to impress people. They observe before they speak. They understand that every unnecessary word weakens authority when it comes from a need for approval. In relationships, careers, and social situations, people naturally lean toward the person who remains composed while everyone else fights for attention. Validation becomes dangerous when a man starts depending on it to define his worth. Many men are trained from an early age to perform for approval. They seek praise through money, status symbols, relationships, social media attention, or constant achievement because they believe recognition will finally make them feel respected. But the more a man chases validation, the more control he gives away to other people's opinions. High-status men operate from a different mindset because their confidence is internally built. They do not need to announce their value in every room they enter. They are comfortable being misunderstood, overlooked, or even doubted for a period of time because their identity is not attached to temporary applause. This creates a level of emotional freedom that most people never experience. Women instinctively recognize this difference because insecurity always reveals itself through behavior. A man who constantly seeks attention often becomes reactive, jealous, and emotionally unstable when validation disappears. But a man who validates himself brings calmness into relationships. He listens without needing to dominate, leads without forcing control, and walks away from disrespect without desperation. People naturally respect men who are not trying to convince everyone they deserve respect. Emotional control has become one of the clearest signs of strength in a world addicted to reaction. Most people believe dominance comes from aggression, intimidation, or loud displays of confidence. But real power is revealed when a man stays composed in situations designed to provoke him. Anyone can appear strong when life feels easy. The true test of character appears when pressure, criticism, rejection, or disrespect enters the room. Weak men allow emotions to control their decisions because they mistake intensity for strength. They react instantly with They have their ego feels threatened. Anger becomes their defense mechanism. Impulsive behavior becomes their identity. But high-status men understand that emotional discipline creates authority. The ability to pause before reacting shows self-awareness, intelligence, and control over one's impulses. Women pay close attention to this because emotional stability affects how safe and grounded a relationship feels. A man who loses control under pressure creates uncertainty around everyone near him. But the man who remains calm during conflict changes the emotional atmosphere around him. His presence lowers chaos instead of adding to it. In social situations, business and relationships, people naturally trust the man who can manage his emotions when everyone else is losing control of theirs. Reaction is often the first sign that a man is being controlled by his emotions instead of his principles. Weak men react to everything because they feel personally attacked by every disagreement, delay, criticism, or inconvenience. Their mood changes with circumstances. Their confidence depends on how people treat them. And because they lack internal stability, they allow external situations to dictate their behavior. Powerful men move differently because they create space between emotion and action. They understand that responding requires awareness, while reacting only requires impulse. When pressure rises, they slow down instead of speeding up emotionally. They listen carefully before speaking. They think long-term while others chase the satisfaction of immediate emotional release. This level of control creates a presence that naturally commands respect without demanding it. Women notice this distinction quickly because emotional maturity changes the way a man handles conflict and uncertainty. A reactive man creates tension in relationships because every challenge becomes emotional chaos. But a man who responds with patience and clarity creates trust. He does not explode to prove strength. He does not seek revenge to protect his ego. In professional environments, friendships, and relationships, the men who rise above the crowd are usually the ones who remain steady when everyone else becomes emotionally unpredictable. Discipline is what separates admired men from unreliable ones. Most people think respect is earned through charisma, talent, or appearance, but those things lose their value quickly when consistency disappears. A man can speak confidently, dress sharply, and appear ambitious for a short period of time, yet people eventually judge him by his habits. Discipline reveals whether a man can lead himself before trying to lead anyone else. Modern society constantly rewards comfort, distraction, and instant gratification. Men are encouraged to chase pleasure while avoiding discomfort, and over time this weakens their identity without them realizing it. A man who cannot control his impulses slowly loses trust in himself. He breaks promises to his future, avoids responsibility, and depends on motivation instead of structure. But disciplined men operate differently because they continue moving forward even when emotions change. Their actions are not controlled by temporary feelings. Women instinctively observe discipline because it reflects emotional reliability. A man who lacks discipline often becomes inconsistent in relationships, goals, and communication. His energy changes daily. His focus disappears under pressure. But disciplined men create stability through their behavior. They show up when they say they will. They manage their emotions instead of becoming controlled by them. This creates a quiet form of confidence that people can feel without explanation. Presence is built through repeated actions that align with values over time. High-status men understand that discipline is not punishment. It is proof that a man can control himself in a world designed to control his attention, emotions, and desires. Real status is built in the moments nobody applauds. Most men are conditioned to perform success instead of developing substance. They chase the appearance of power because public recognition feels rewarding in the short term. Social media has intensified this mindset by teaching people to display every achievement, every luxury, and every moment of progress for validation. But the men who truly command respect understand that status built for attention is fragile. The moment the audience disappears, so does the identity attached to it. Private discipline creates a level of confidence that public performance can never imitate. High-status men spend more time developing themselves than advertising themselves. They work on their mindset when nobody is watching. They improve their health, habits, emotional control, and focus without. needing constant praise for it. This creates internal strength because their self-worth is not dependent on external reactions. They know who they are in silence, not just in front of a crowd. Women instinctively recognize the difference between performance and authenticity because insecurity always leaks through behavior. A man performing status often overcompensates through arrogance, attention-seeking, or material displays because he needs people to believe in an image. He secretly doubts himself. But a man who has built himself privately carries a different energy. He does not force dominance into conversations. He does not compete for attention in every room. His confidence feels grounded because it comes from evidence he has created in private. Character is always revealed behind closed doors long before it becomes visible in public life. The way a man handles loneliness, discipline, rejection, temptation, and responsibility when nobody is watching shapes the presence people eventually feel around him. High-status men understand that public respect is usually the byproduct of private standards repeated consistently over time.